All right, just about time for game number 22 here at Flat Track Fever 2025. You're here to see Eves of Destruction versus High Altitude Roller Derby. Skating in purple, we have number 00, Fanny in the pack. 09, Raven. 115, Lightning Striker. 1166, Wife of Wrath. 21, Charlie Hearst. 250, Bugsy. 27, Honey Crueler. Number 4, Terminator. 452, The Frenzy. 5, Florence the Machine. 505, Flawless. 55, So Depressed. 654, Goose. 7, Champagne. 705, Violet Criminal. 73, Tombstone. And number 78, Jerry Can. On white for high altitude, we have number 0, The Knockout. 1 Destruction. 13, Murphy's Law. 1414, Kid Radical. 142, Meals on Wheels. 27, Glitter Bomb. 314, Pie Are Scared. 321, Vivian Slaya. Number 4, Papa Wheelie. 45, Kate Smush. 47, Crawdaddy. 750, Gin and Tonic. 76, Little Evil. 802, Mow You Down. And 911, Eager Beaver. Now underway, we've got Glitter Bomb jamming against Honey Crueler to start us off. Glitter Bomb at the top of the pack and first to get the lead status for high altitude. Honey Crueler still fighting at the front of the pack. Looks like Lightning Striker moving in to try and give some offensive assistance for having to relent as Glitter Bomb comes into the fray, putting points on the board for high altitude. Pack slowly making its way around the top of the apex. Honey Crueler still pushing against this fearsome formation from the high altitude. Glitter Bomb putting another 4 points up on the board. Looks like 1 blocker apiece in our Genuine sponsored penalty box. Glitter Bomb at the top of the pack has 1 left to beat. I believe that was Lightning Striker again doing double duty there at the top of the pack. A sneaky Star Stash gets the star free for the Eves of Destruction. Tombstone, though, not able to score this time. Jam called. The first 15 points go to the Dark Sky Starlets. Underway with jam number 2 now. Can't quite tell who is jamming at the moment. Don't have the best angle. Oh, that is 3-2-1. Vivian Slaya jamming for the Dark Sky Starlets. So Depressed and the Eves of Destruction gets past the last line of defense. Those blockers having to relent, getting to their out of play point. Vivian Slaya through on the outside and calls it. 4 additional points going to the Dark Sky Starlets, bring them up to 19. Looks like it's going to be Pie Are Scared and Charlie Hearst, our next jammers of record, heading into jam number 3. Eves likely looking to put their first points on the board, and lead advantage will provide some assistance with that. Charlie Hearst quick to pick up that lead status for the Eves of Destruction, who lose their pivot momentarily to our Genuine sponsored penalty box. Charlie Hearst through as Pie Are Scared comes back into the fray. Both now with 4 in the pocket.
Sorry. Oh, no worries. I was just playing. Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah.
First points for the Eves of Destruction, bringing them up to nice even 8. Dark Sky Starlets adding 7 to their total, bringing them up to 26. Heading into jam number 4, we've got Eager Beaver versus Jerry Can. Both jammers held up by respective formations. Both teams doing a great job keeping these jammers at bay. Jerry Ken getting bumped to the inside bridge the long way back by the Dark Sky Starlets. Eager Beaver pushing through and Dark Sky moving in temporarily, but Eves of Destruction just rotate around that offense. Having absolutely locked down Eager Beaver, Jerry Can gets through with that sneaky star stash after a hard-fought 45 seconds. Jammer opting to remove that star cover, hoping to mix up these blockers enough, but Eves of Destruction aren't falling for that one. Jerry Can pushing at the top of the pack. One left to beat. That's the pivot for Dark Sky Starlets. Now moving in to try and split up this defensive formation from the Eves of Destruction, but once again, just seamlessly rotating around. Jerry Can working hard to avoid those lines, sticking to the middle where it's nice and safe for those jammers to go. One left to beat. That's the pivot again for Dark Sky Starlets, and joined by a supporting blocker. Eager Beaver pushing at the back of the pack. Eves of Destruction still have the lockdown, and the jam clock does wind down to its natural 2-minute conclusion. Huge jam for the Eves of Destruction, adding 8 to their total, now doubling their score. Dark Sky Starlight still holding strong at 26 points. Don't forget to visit the Chinook City merch table. They've still got fundraising ticket things available, like throwing a pie at a junior. Here, April Sowers and Mo could use some bids. So go on, visit them, and help raise some money. Goose jamming for Eves of Destruction, getting them their second lead in a row. Penalty box filling up on the Dark Sky Starlet side. That'll be a slightly smaller pack for Goose to contend with. Doesn't mean any less of a feat to get through. Getting a bit of help from number 4. That's Terminator with the clear on the inside. And that's going to be 3 points going to the Eves total, bringing them up to 19. Standing in the box now for the Dark Sky Starlets, so it'll be 10 seconds or less until they are back at full strength. Kid Radical and Honey Crueler are jammers of record. Honey Crueler at the top of the pack and will be out first. Third lead jam in a row for the Eves of Destruction. Looks like Kid Radical opting to take off that star, plot out their next move, but once again, Eves of Destruction all over it. Not quite able to complete the coverage of the line on the inside there. That allows Pie Radical to get through just as Honey Crueler comes back in to add points on the board. Running up that inside line, but High Altitude did have a couple blockers there to cover the inside. That'll be 7 points to the Eves of Destruction total, and our first lead change of the game. Glitter Bomb versus Soda Pressed here in jam number 7. Soda Pressed trying to ride that inside line, but ultimately shut down by Gin and Tonic. Toxic, sorry. Glitter Bomb is first out. Lead goes to Dark Sky Starlets, their first in the past 3 jams, having had the opening 3 leads. Glitter Bomb taking a bump to the outside, down but not quite out, and Soda Pressed is free of the pack through the initial. Just dancing up that inside line. Glitter Bomb gets through and calls it. That'll be 4 points awarded to the Dark Sky Starlets, bringing them back into the lead. Vivian Slaya and Charlie Hurst taking to our full mobility chiropractic jam line. Vivian getting knocked out and bridged back to the top of the apex, and it'll be Charlie Hurst answering with the lead jam awarded to the Eves of Destruction. Slaya still wrapped up in this defensive formation from the Eves. Charlie Hurst pushing their way to the front, and it looks like a Star Stash will get the star cover free for the Dark Sky Starlets, just as Charlie Hurst calls that one to its conclusion. Let's see. It'll be 2 points awarded to the Eves of Destruction, bringing them to a 1-point game. Jerry Kent taking another chance at the star versus Pi R Squared. Pi finds an open line along that outside there. A quick star pass. It's going to be Tombstone, our new jammer of record for the Eves of Destruction, getting that initial out of the way as Pi R Squared comes back into the fray, taking a tumble just over the top of that apex. Looks like all 4 points will be accounted for. That'll bring the Dark Sky Starlets up to 34 points. Eves of Destruction still holding strong at 29 as we head into jam number 10. It's going to be Eager Beaver and Goose next jammers of record. Goose at the top of the pack, ducks that last hit from the Dark Sky Starlet blockers, wasting no time to get lead advantage for the Eves of Destruction. Eager Beaver working furiously at the back of this pack. They're going to send one up for some offense. That's Wife of Wrath. Eves still moving seamlessly in front of this jammer as they make their way around turn number 2. Star pass attempt unfortunately did not go through. Our new jammer for the Dark Sky Starlets is going to be the pivot number 750, Gin and Toxic. Goose just racking up points in this jam number 10. Being escorted to the outside line by Dark Sky Starlets. Looks like Murphy's Law with the drawback there along the back straightaway. Goose adding another 4 points to the Eves total, bringing them back into the lead. Holding on to that inside line, that's going to be a 16-point jam for the Eves of Destruction. Sorry, 19-point jam. Brings our total up to 48. Dark Sky Starlet still holding strong at 34. Don't forget to visit Calgary Gumballs from Calgary Super Leagues, this women's division of Super Leagues Calgary. This team has won the opportunity to compete at C Nationals this summer after earning the silver at C Provincials last year. It's the first time that women get the opportunity to compete at this level at the CBHA Nationals Tournament, a division only offered to the men until now. You'll find their fundraising game at their table to help support them on their travels. Make sure you stop by. Little Evil and Honey Crueler. Little Evil at the top of the pack. One left to beat. That is Lightning Striker. Not going to make this an easy lead to acquire. And it will be a forearm penalty assessed. Power jam in favor of the Eves of Destruction. Honey Crueler at the top of the pack manages to keep those skates in bounds and will be awarded lead. Eves of Destruction now in full control of this jam, number 11. Honey Crueler calling for some offense. Dark Sky Starlets, though, ready and waiting with that first line of defense. Honey Crueler collecting, looks like all 4 points awarded, and freezing. Little Evil in the box will remain for 10 seconds or less as they are already standing. So a very brief power start for Soda Pressed here and the Eves of Destruction. Soda Press finds room to run along that outside line by the tips of those toe stops. Little Evil now free of the penalty box, but Eves of Destruction were ready and waiting with the formation. Looks like Flawless there, able to break apart that pack of Dark Sky Starlights just enough to help Soda Press through with relatively less effort. Little Evil still trapped at the back of this pack. Pack still has yet to make its way around the track, just camping out right along that straightaway there. Soda Press through for another 4 points on the board. Eves of Destruction definitely racking up points in this second part of the first half. Soda Press at the top of the pack and one left to beat. Twist of those hips will get the job done. Just past the hips of Murphy's Law through the third scoring pass for behalf of the Eves of Destruction. Little Evil getting bumped to the outside and bridged the long way back, trying to play it safe, not wanting to incur a trip to our Genuine sponsored bundling box. The Star Stash almost gets the star free for Little Evil. Last minute bump out there, but Little Evil able to re-enter the track legally and quickly. 20-point jam for Soda Pressed. Brings the Eves total up to 72. Dark Sky Starlets holding strong at 34. Looks like we're going to have ourselves a team timeout. Stop by the Chinook City merch table and buy your raffle tickets. You can throw a pie at a junior. We definitely know that Sowers and Mosker need some bids for the Throwing a Pie fundraiser. Shout out to Full Mobility Chiropractic, our Jam Line sponsor. They're on-site to treat skaters and officials. Be sure to book your appointment today, offering a Flat Track Fever special, which includes $50 treatments and custom-made orthotics for $300. You don't want to pass up these amazing prices. And that'll be the end of our team timeout, the first of the game. Charlie Hurst wasting no time, securing lead advantage, but Glitter Bomb is also out just a quarter track behind, hoping to put on the pressure. Dark Sky Starlights stopping in unison, ready and waiting along turn number 2. Fast moving pack here. Charlie Hurst getting through. Collecting one lone blocker point and calling it to a conclusion. 73 points now for the Eves of Destruction. 34 for Dark Sky Starlights as we head into jam number 14. Going to be Vivian Slaya and Jerry Can taking to our full mobility chiropractic jam line. Jerry Can trying to bust up the middle. Vivian Slaya finding room to run on the outside. Lead will go to the Dark Sky Starlets. Murphy's Law, the last line of defense against Jerry Can there. Jerry Can now hoping to put on some pressure. Dark Sky Scarlets are going to add a few points to their total. Total of those yet to be confirmed by our referees. Looks like it'll be 1 point going to the Dark Sky Starlets total, bringing them up to 35. Goose donning the star again for the Eves of Destruction at the top of the pack. Dark Sky Starlets trying to keep that formation together at the front, keeping Goose at bay just a little bit longer. Goose, though, is out first with lead for the Eves of Destruction. Pie getting out for the initial pass, hoping to put on some pressure. Goose getting all 4 points in the pocket and calling it to a conclusion. It'll be 77 points for the Eves. Dark Sky Starlet still holding strong at 35. It's going to be Kid Radical and Honey Crueler for jam number 16 here in the first half. Honey Crueler at the top of the pack has one left to beat. That's Meals on Wheels, the last line of defense against Honey Crueler, but lead will go to the Eves of Destruction here. Kid Radical still trying to find a way through this pack, but Eves of Destruction have a strong formation set up along the straightaway as we approach turn 1. Taking off the star, hoping to plot out their next move. Honey Crueler trying to jump that apex on the inside, doesn't quite stick the landing, and this pack is going to go backwards, back to turn 4. Honey Crueler still pushing this pack with all of their might. Flawless trying to break apart this pack, has to relent to keep that tripod in play. Pack getting stretched almost to its maximum, and Honey Crueler is out with the second scoring pass. Kid Radical now with the star in hand, hoping to separate these blockers enough, and a beautiful star pass completion. That's going to be Gin and Toxic, our new jammer of record for the Dark Sky Starlets. Honeycruller still busting through this pack, and one blocker will save their point, I believe. That's going to be a 3-point pass at the end there. A grand total of 11. That brings Eves of Destruction's total up to 88. Dark Sky Starlet still holding strong at 35, and we're going to have ourselves a quick official timeout. And that'll be it for our official timeout. Going to head into jam number 17 here. Just over 7 minutes left here in the first half. Soda Pressed squaring off against Glitter Bomb. Looks like both defensive formations just moving effortlessly in front of these jammers and somehow avoiding one another. Soda Press trying to run up that inside line, does get bumped to the infield, able to recycle quickly, but it'll be Glitter Bomb out first. Both jammers neck and neck. Glitter Bomb not wanting to play that jammer game, opting to call that one off. A goose egg jam, no points, just vibes. It's going to be Charlie Hurst and Vivian Slaya taking to our full mobility chiropractic jam line. One blocker standing in our Genuine sponsored penalty box. That means a slight pack advantage will go to the Dark Sky Starlets just momentarily. That means 10 seconds or less. Charlie Hurst trying to run up that inside. Dark Sky Starlets ready and waiting. A beautiful hop along that inside line will get Vivian Slaya free, but Charlie Hurst only about a quarter track behind. Slaya hitting the pack and calling it to a conclusion. Doesn't look like any points are going to be awarded in jam number 18. Don't forget to check out Untamed Fernie, designs made for the busy woman who wants to look and feel fabulous. Untamed focuses on creating everyday clothing that is practical and comfortable while also being fun, flattering, and unique. Each piece is enhanced by a special touch by collaborating with local artists, printing their artwork onto fabric, and incorporating their designs into the creations. Jerry Can and Pie R squared are jammers of record. Pie getting a wide open inside line. Eves of Destruction able to bust apart that pack from the Dark Sky Starlets, and a sneaky star pass will get our star free. That'll be Wife of Wrath, our new jammer of record. Pie getting a twirling hit towards that inside line. Is going to pick up 2 points and call that one off. Dark Sky Starlets putting up 2 points in that last jam. Still about 4.5 minutes left here in the first half. Looks like it's going to be Goose squaring off against Glitter Bomb for jam number 20. Just one sitting in our Genuine sponsored penalty box. Glitter Bomb able to stick the landing right along the inside line, but Goose will be a half track behind. Eves of Destruction putting on some pressure. A twist of the hits by Glitter Bomb and the call off. That's going to be 3 going to the Dark Sky Starlets. That brings them up to an even 40 points. Eves of Destruction have 88. Heading into jam number 21, we got Honeycruller and Vivian Slaya. Honey Cooler quick to get to the top of the pack, but Dark Sky Starlet's able to shove the jammer out. All right, looks like our medic's just finishing cleaning up along that outside line there. Biohazards are never fun. Our officials just making sure the floor is nice and ready. The floor is slippery enough without it being covered in moisture. The best part is when it's super cold and it immediately turns to ice. Said no one ever. All right, about to get back underway here with the remainder of this first half, heading into jam number 22. Looks like we have Soda Pressed. And I want to say, Vivian Slaya. Soda Press quick to get to the top of the pack. One last line of defense. That was the knockout. Trying to get the slow down on Soda Press. Just able to do so for a half step. And it will be a power jam scenario for the Eves of Destruction. Soda Press sticking to the middle where it's nice and safe. 4 points on the board for the Eves of Destruction. Dark Sky Starlets ready and waiting with the formation, but Eves of Destruction able to maneuver around just enough to help keep that an easy pass. Soda Press going to call that one off while Vivian Slay is still in that Genuine sponsored penalty box for 10 seconds or less as they're already standing. It's going to be a quick power start and looks like they're going to send out Charlie Hurst with the star. Charlie Hurst trying to run up that inside line, but it looks like Jin and Toxic was there at the slowdown. Vivian Slaya sneaking right out of that penalty box and does acquire lead. Charlie Hurst, though, not far behind, hoping to put on the pressure. Slaya at the back of the pack, hitting the formation from the Eves of Destruction, picks up 1 point and calls it to a conclusion. Dark Sky Starlet's now sitting at 41 points to the Eves of Destruction's 96, just knocking on that century mark. They're going to send out Jerry Can with the star to square off against Pi Are Scared. Just one after this, and then I'm done.
Who's doing the last one? I want to help with the last one.
I'm not sure. I think I might be by myself. Oh, sweet. Jerry Can and Pi Are Scared, our next jammers of record. Pi trying to force her way up the inside line. Jerry Can trying to finish the job, but opting to relent. Yeah. Pi with that lead jam advantage, getting a bump to that outside, opting to call it off before Jerry can do any damage. That's going to send us into possibly one more jam in the first half.
I'll deal with it in a second now.
So just enough time for one more jam. It's going to be an official review, though, brought to you on behalf of the Eves of Destruction. Oh, almost back to it. Just kidding. It's going to be an official review, I think, on the Dark Sky Starlet side now. This one is. Just a reminder, all seats in the front row must be occupied by those over 18. 18 plus. The front row is for the big kids. Please and thank you. All right, heading into our last jam of the first half. That's going to be jam number 25. That seems like a really high number for some reason. It's going to be Goose jamming against Glitter Bomb. Glitter Bomb finds room on that outside, ducks that last line of defense from the Ease of Destruction, picks up lead for the Dark Sky Starlets. Period clock now expired. We are solely running on jam time here. Glitter Bomb getting bumped to the outside. Bridge behind that full mobility chiropractic jam line. Pack still containing itself along that first straightaway. Looks like Goose having now passed off the star. It's going to be the Frenzy, our new jammer of record, getting through the pack. And it'll be a four-arm call. So power jam scenario in favor of the Dark Sky Starlets. Glitter Bomb dancing along that inside line on those toe stops. The first four on the board. Giving the signal to the Dark Sky Starlet blockers. Glitter Bomb hitting that pack and then waiting patiently for them to move in for the assist. One more to beat at the top of this pack. It's not going to be an easy feat to accomplish. Eve's proving formidable with their one-on-one blocking, and it'll be a four-arm penalty reverse call to Glitter Bomb. And it looks like it's just as the Frenzy was released, so that means Glitter Bomb will have to sit the full 30 seconds. Our jam clock slowly winding down in this 2-minute jam, just less than 10 seconds. And that will do it for the first half. Glitter Bomb frozen in that penalty box at halftime. So that's going to be a very brief power start for the Eves of Destruction after this halftime. Don't go too far. Don't forget to check out our vendors. Place a bid on to pie a junior in the face and other raffle things. Come back in about 15 minutes or so. All right, just about time for the second half of Eves of Destruction versus the Dark Sky Starlets. Glitter Bomb serving the remaining seconds in that penalty box, already standing, so that means 10 seconds or less for the Eves of Destruction on this jam number 1. I'm going to give a shout out to our officials for this game. That is Rex, Bust Your Bubbles, Dubs and Roses, Smarty McFly, Taylor's Miffed, Peacemaker, Toast, Badger, and Kiki. Also, thank you to our on-skates officials. That's Snow, Pam Tara, Short Fuse, Hunky Dory, Dr. Death, and Whack Job. It's going to be Soda Pressed on this power start on behalf of the Eves of Destruction. Gets past the last on a defense from the knockout. Lead goes to the Eves of Destruction, just as Glitter Bomb is released from our Genuine sponsored penalty box. Trying to dance up that outside line and will be out for the initial pass. Soda Press picking up all 4 points and calling it. That will be just enough to put them over the century mark here in jam number 1. Looks like it's going to be Charlie Hurst taking on Vivian Slaya for jam number 2 here. An even 50 points separating these two teams, not insurmountable. We are underway. It looks like Lightning Striker there with the hit to the inside on Vivian Slaya. That's going to be Charlie Hurst out first. Lead goes to the Eves of Destruction. And it'll be a star pass successfully performed by the Dark Sky Starlets. Mow You Down, our new jammer of record. Mo able to absorb those hits on the inside line just as Charlie Hurst puts up the first 4 points for the Eves. Charlie Hurst calling that one to a conclusion. It's just going to be a 4-0 jam for jam number 2. Looks like the Eves are going to send out Jerry Can with the star, squaring off against Pi Are Scared. Looks like one in our Genuine sponsored penalty box on the Eves side, so slight pack advantage is going to go to the Dark Sky Starlets for jam number 3. Pi able to maintain that balance on the inside, but ultimately gets bumped out towards the infield. Looks like that was Champagne, the deliverer of that blow. Champagne at the front now does get a piece of Pi Are Scared down, but not quite out. Pi going to be the lead jammer of record, and the jammer versus jammer action between Pi and Jerry Can is enough fun for jam number 3. Looks like it'll be Goose being sent out with a star for the Eves of Destruction, and it'll be Glitter Bomb jamming for the Dark Sky Starlets. Looks like a currently 2-on-2 formation on behalf of the Starlets pack. Waiting at the top of that pack, Flawless hoping to break apart those blockers enough, but the Dark Sky Starlets just rotate right around. So it was Crawdaddy there supporting that 3-wall, keeping Goose at bay. Glitter Bomb, our lead jammer of record on behalf of the Dark Sky Starlets. Goose opting to remove that star, plot out their next move. Unfortunately, their pivot currently occupied, keeping Glitter Bomb at bay, and Goose will report to our Genuine sponsored penalty box for 30 seconds. Glitter Bomb putting 4 on the board. signaling to those Dark Sky Starlet blockers for the offensive maneuver they're going to perform during this power jam. Absorbing those hits. Looks like that was a hit from a Wife of Wrath. Eve's Destruction ready and waiting with a formation that looks like a 3-wall supported by an extra. Glitter Bomb knocked down once again, but not out. Eve's Destruction not quite able to take Glitter Bomb to those track boundaries. That'll be a 3-point pass for that time. Glitter Bomb communicating with that pack once again. Dark Sky Starlet's moving in for the assist. Manages to stay in those track boundaries by the tips of the toe stops, absorbing another hit by the Eve's blockers. And that's going to freeze Goose in the penalty box for the start of jam number 5. Another power jam goes to favor of the Dark Sky Starlets, who added 15 points in that last jam, bringing them up to 65. Don't forget there's still time to stop by the Chinook City merch booth and place a bid to throw a pie at a junior. We hear Sowers and Mo could use some bids to have pies thrown at their faces. Goose still stuck in that penalty box. It'll be Pie R scared on this power start and with lead advantage in favor of the Dark Sky Starlets. Goose releases for the box, but the Dark Sky Starlet's ready and waiting with a 4-wall formation. Pivot trying to maneuver in the middle and split the blockers apart just enough, but the Starlets are able to rotate around. Star pass now complete for the Eves of Destruction. That's going to be Tombstone, our new jammer of record, as Pie R Scared is sent to our Genuine sponsored penalty box. So Power Jam now shifts into the favor of the Eves. Tombstone absorbing hits along that outside back straightaway. 4-point total going to the Eves as we complete our first minute of jam number 5. Bodies tumbling along that inside track boundary. Looks like a couple skaters reporting to our penalty box. They'll join the teammate from the Dark Sky Starlets. So slight pack advantage in favor of the Eves of Destruction as the respective jammers come back into fray. Pie R Scared trying to run up the middle, slowly escorted to that inside, but able to recycle quickly. Looks like Lightning Striker at the top of the pack. Tombstone getting a ride along that inside line, ultimately bumped out and will be bridged back behind that full mobility chiropractic jam line. Tombstone moving furiously back and forth as our jam clock winds down. Its final seconds now fully elapsed. That'll be another 4 points for the Eves of Destruction. Grand total of 16 points in that jam, bringing them up to 120. 7 put up on the Dark Sky Starlet side. And it looks like it's going to be an official review brought to you by the Dark Sky Starlets. Either an official review or a timeout used as that. Believe there's some raffle draws still available over at the Chinook City merch table. Lots of great prizes to be had, like a dine and stay package for the carriage house, general admission tickets to Callaway Park, gym sessions for Fitness Ninja, No table, $50 gift certificate, and family membership to the Hangar Museum Windsport. Lots of good prizes to be had over at the Chinook City merch table. Jam number 6 now underway. It's going to be Kid Radical and Soda Press. Soda Press at the top of the pack. One left to beat at the top there. That is number 0, the knockout, that last line of defense, and it is enough to get Kid Radical lead advantage. Soda Press, though, hot on their trail. The jammer races on, and Kid Radical opting to call that one to a conclusion. Looks like it will be no points, just 5s for jam number 6. It's going to be Charlie Hurst donning the star next for the Eves of Destruction, and Glitter Bomb for the Dark Sky Starlets. Looks like our penalty box currently sitting empty will be full 5 versus 5 here in Jam 7. Charlie Hurst finding wide open lane number 4. Lead goes to the Eves of Destruction. Glitter Bomb getting knocked to the outside, bridged a long way back. Looks like flawless there with the knockout. Doing some flawless offensive assistance for Charlie Hurst there. Charlie Hurst able to push those blockers to their out-of-play limit. Forced to let it go with 4 points in the pocket. Little hop over the skates there. Even the blocker for like Dark Sky Starlets look impressed with that one. I'm like, hey, that was cool anyway. Glitter Bomb out with the initial pass for the Dark Sky Starlets, and this pack is going to pick up some speed here. Charlie Hurst opting to bring that one to a conclusion. No points on that last pass there. It'll be a grand total of 8 for the Eves, bringing them up to 128. 72 for the Dark Sky Starlets. We've just over 20 minutes left in the second half. Coming up after this, we are going to see the Jane Deers take on Team Northern BC, followed by the Calgary All-Stars taking on Fight Club to round us out for Flatjack Fever 2025. Jerry Can and Little Evil are jammers of record. Jerry Can at the back of the pack. Little Evil trying to push these blockers at the front, but that is a strong wall from the Eves of Destruction. Little Evil taking a brief tumble there, able to deke out at least a couple of hits, but Lightning Striker there, able to bump out and bridge the long way back behind turn number 1. It's Jerry Can at the top of the pack. Unfortunately, star in hand, so lead will not be able to be acquired by the Eves at this point. Jerry Can fighting right up the middle of that pack, keeping things nice and safe. Star in hand will be the initial pass for the Eves of Destruction. Little Evil still fighting through. I was going to say, is that a dog? It's like everybody's getting in on cheering here for this game. Eves of Destruction versus Dark Sky Starlets. 1 full minute elapsed, and it will be Little Evil, our lead jammer, after a hard-fought minute. Our pack doing a full lap around this track. That's going to be 4 points picked up by the Eves of Destruction. A hard-earned 4 points at that. Brings their total up to 132 versus the 72 on behalf of the Dark Sky Starlets. Penalty box currently setting empty. Will be full 5 versus 5 as they send out Pyre, Scared, and Goose with the stars. Goose trying to run up that inside line, but the Dark Sky Starlets 3-ball was there to shut down that path of momentum. Goose fighting furiously at the front of this pack. That's enough time for some support to come on behalf of the Dark Sky Starlets. Lead does go to Goose in the Eves of Destruction as they lose their pivot momentarily to our Genuine sponsored penalty box. Pyre Scared absorbing that hit along the inside line will be through for the initial. Goose twisting those hips furiously, and we will see how many points will be awarded. Looks like the refs just conferring with the outside pack refs to be sure. It'll be 1 point in favor of the Eves of Destruction, brings their total up to 133. Eager Beaver taking a chance at the star, but it'll be so depressed who is free of that pack first with lead advantage for the Eves of Destruction. Looks like we're just going to finish up this official timeout here. Huge thank you to our medics for volunteering to keep us safe here this weekend at Flat Track Fever 2025. It's going to be Kid Radical donning the star next, and Charlie Hurst for the Eves of Destruction. All right, looks like we are all set to get underway with jam number 11 here in the second half. And we are underway. Charlie Hurst trying to dance up that inside line, just ducking that side swipe by Kid Radical. It'll be Eves with lead advantage here in jam 11. Kid Radical making their way through this pack, so putting on a bit of pressure here. Charlie Hurst dancing up that outside line. One skate does go out of bounds just enough. It looks like it'll be the full 4 points awarded. Eves of Destruction now at 137 to the Dark Sky Starlets 72. They're going to send out Glitter Bomb next. One blocker currently in our Genuine sponsored penalty box, so slight pack advantage will go to the high altitude Dark Sky Starlets. It'll be Jerry Ken with the star for the Eves of Destruction, running up that outside line, but Jin and Toxic there with the knock to the inside, and it'll be behind that full mobility chiropractic jam line. Glitter Bomb does get free of the back, but lead already has been awarded to Jerry Can, having been recycled. Jerry Can gets those instructions from the bench. Glitter Bomb puts on a little extra burst of speed, but it'll be 0 points for all there in jam number 12. Use of Destruction going to send out Goose with a star, squaring off against Pi R Scared. Jammers getting a bit of a running start at this pack, but both teams ready and waiting with strong formations. Goose running up that outside. Dark Sky Starlet's not quite able to stop at the top, but it is Goose heading toward Pot's Genuine sponsored penalty box. Power jam in favor of the Dark Sky Starlets. Pyar Scared working against a furious formation. Starlets moving in for the assist. But the Eves of Destruction moving up at the same time. Dark Sky Starlets opting to stay in the back and let Pyar Scared push momentarily before moving in to try and split apart these blockers once again. Eves of Destruction just all over Pyar Scared. After a hard-fought 50 seconds, it is Pi who is with lead advantage in here, jam number 13. Being neck and neck with Goose, opting to call that one to a conclusion. No points in jam number 13. We'll have to wait until jam number 14 to do that. Looks like it's going to be Little Evil with the star for the Starlets and Soda Pressed for the Eves of Destruction. It's going to be 5 versus 5 for this next jam here. Currently empty penalty box or vacant. Soda Press runs up that inside line. Little Evil tries to follow suit, but the Eves of Destruction was there to shut down that path of momentum through this pack. Soda Press rounding turn number 1 and a little hop over those skates. That's the skates of Murphy's Law there. Little Evil still 2 left to beat along this back straightaway. Eves of Destruction able to hold them back for at least 30 seconds. Soda Press collecting as many points as possible. It'll be all 4 on the board. 2 scoring passes in that last jam brings the Eves of Destruction up to 145. Dark Sky Starlets at 72 points. They're going to send out Kid Radical with the star against Charlie Hearst. Kid Radical trying those outside and inside respective lines. Charlie Hearst is first out of the pack, dodging that last hit by the knockout. Kid Radical trying to dance up that inside line, but it looks like it's Champagne with the knock to the infield. Unfortunately, reporting to our penalty box for that maneuver. Charlie Hearst trying to hop over that apex, but it looks like a back block penalty will be assessed. We will go the full 2 minutes here and jam number 15. Kid Radical able to re-enter quickly with the no pass, no point. That'll be no lead awarded. Eves of Destruction setting themselves up at the turn number 2. Starlets moving in for the assist, and the beautiful inside sweep gets 4 points up for Kid Radical. Kid Radical being met by a strong formation comprised of the Eves of Destruction. Beautiful 3-wall there. Pivot just hanging out at the top of the pack, able to assist Charlie Hearst as she maneuvers through this pack. Kid Radical getting bumped to the infield, looks like by Flawless and Champagne there. They're being supported by Violet Criminal and their pivot number 452, the Frenzy. Charlie Hurst able to put 4 points up on the board. 3 points for that pass. As our jam clock winds down into its final seconds, Charlie Hurst doing a slide along turn number 2. Quick to get back up, back into play as the final seconds wind down. Kid Radical bump to the inside, bridged back by Flawless. And that will do it for jam number 15. Looks like another 3-point pass for the Eves of Destruction. That'll be a grand total of 10. 8 points picked up by the Dark Sky Starlets brings their total up to 80. We have just over 10 minutes left in the second half. Looks like our penalty box currently sitting empty will be 5 versus 5. Glitter Bomb jamming against Jerry Can. Glitter Bomb temporarily losing footing along the inside, but quick to get back up. But Jerry Can finds room along the outside. Lead goes to the Eves of Destruction. Glitter Bomb absorbing hits as around the top of that apex on the outside lanes. Jerry Can taking a tumble over the pivot on the inside. Getting instructions to call that one to a conclusion from the bench. It'll be 3 points going to the Eves total. Eves now sitting at 158. Pyar Scared donning the star for the Starlets. And it'll be Goose on behalf of the Eves of Destruction. Champagne trying to assist Goose through this pack. A little Jersey whip does get a bit of forward progression. Pyar Scared able to bust through the middle. They will have lead advantage, but Goose is hot on their tail. Eves trying to keep the pack definition with them at the back of the pack, having trapped the knockout. Knock out that first line of defense as Goose comes back into the fray. Looks like it'll be 1 point picked up by the Eves of Destruction, 0 for the Dark Sky Starlets there in jam number 17. Looks like it'll be Eager Beaver donning the star for the Starlets and Soda Press for the Eves of Destruction, but not before we have ourselves a quick official timeout. Shout out to Calgary Junior Roller Derby and Calgary Roller Derby, home of levels 1, 2, and 3 skaters within Calgary, one of the many junior leagues within Alberta. Check out their table for more information. You're looking for some items from the Calgary Roller Derby auction hosted online? Look no further. Stop by and pick up your items here before the end of the weekend. Soda Press able to absorb the hits along that inside line. Lead advantage is going to go to the Eves of Destruction. Eager Beaver still working furiously through this pack. Eves putting up a strong defensive 3-wall supported by an extra. Bugsy able to move in and mess around with the blockers from the Starlets enough to get Soda Pressed through relatively unscathed. Eager Beaver able to get through for that initial pass. Soda Press trying to hop up that inside line. Doesn't quite stick the landing as they would hope. Going to try another path of momentum, but opting to bring that to a conclusion. Looks like it'll be 1 point picked up on that scoring pass for a grand total of 5. It's going to be Little Evil donning the star for the Dark Sky Starlets and Charlie Hurst for the Eves of Destruction. Little Evil getting a running start along that inside. Charlie Hurst able to tiptoe along that outside track boundary. Lead goes to the Eves of Destruction. Little Evil trying to run up that inside lane again with Champagne there to stop that path forward. Little jammer collision around the outside track boundaries, but both jammers quick to get back up and into the fray. Charlie Hurst putting up the first scoring pass, 4 points on the board. Little Evil getting bumped to the inside, opting to remove the star. Going to try up the outside lane, absorbing the first hit, but being escorted beyond that outside track boundary. Going to get knocked out and bridged back by the wife of Wrath. Almost back to turn number 2 as Charlie Hurst pushes through for another 4-point pass. Bodies tumbling along this back straightaway, and it does look like our jammer for the Dark Sky Starlight's going to be heading to that box. Power jam in favor of the Eves of Destruction as Charlie Hurst brings that jam to its conclusion. So it'll be a power start here for the Eves of Destruction, and we have just over 5.5 minutes to go here in the second half. Coming up after this, we are going to see the Jane Deers taking on Team Northern BC, followed by All Stars and Fight Club battle to round out our Flat Track Fever 2025, day number 3. It's going to be Little Evil with the star in the box. Jerry Can is out first, lead jammer of record for the Eves of Destruction. Stay smaller pack here for Jerry Can to contend with, but nonetheless fearsome. Looks like Meals on Wheels there, able to draw the cut or the penalty on Jerry Can. Yes, it will be a cut jack penalty. That means Little Evil going to be released from our Genuine sponsored penalty box. Meeting that pack in the middle, and beautiful offensive assist by the Dark Sky Starlets will get the star free. Little Evil communicating their wishes for the blocking contingent from the Dark Sky Starlets. Scarlet's moving in to try and clear that outside. Bodies tumbling along that inside lane. Gonna get knocked out by, looks like Bugsy, and bridge back. That's gonna be behind Terminator. Little Evil working furiously left and right. The Eves of Destruction offense or defense seems to be moving seamlessly in front. Jin and Toxic trying to mix into the fray as Jerry Can puts up the first 4 points of the jam, having been earned a minute and a half here in jam number 20. Little Evil almost seeing the light of day does get knocked down. As always, a big thank you to our medics for taking such good care of our skaters here. It takes a lot of volunteers to put on an event such as Flat Track Fever 2025. We appreciate all of you. Just under 3.5 minutes left here in the second half of Ease of Destruction versus Dark Sky Starlets. Nearly 100 points separating these two teams. Looks like 98 of them to be exact. Goose going to be jamming versus Kid Radical. Kid taking a bump to that infield, able to re-enter behind that full mobility chiropractic jam line. Both jammers being held relatively towards the back of the pack. Goose able to get some forward momentum, courtesy, looks like, of Champagne. Kid Radical absorbing that side hit from Champagne. Goose runs up the inside lane, will be out first, but Kid Radical hot on their trail. We have another jammer race here in jam number 21. It's like Jammer opting to bring that to a conclusion, not wanting to undergo the Jammer race through this formidable pack. Soda Press taking the star again for the Eves of Destruction, and it'll be Glitter Bomb on behalf of the Dark Sky Starlets. Soda Press dancing up that inside line, might have been ultimately knocked out, looks like, by Gin and Toxic there, and bridged the long way back, looks like by Murphy's Law. Glitter Bomb out first, lead advantage going to the Dark Sky Starlets here in Jam 22. Soda Press out about a half track behind, so a little bit of time for Glitter Bomb to work way through the pack, picking up at least a couple of points. Beautiful apex hop by Soda Press. I think it might have been towards the conclusion of those 4 whistles, so apologies. If we could give points for style, you would get 1 point for style. Looks like a single point going to be picked up by the Dark Sky Starlets, possibly. Nope, no points for anyone. It did look pretty cool, though. No, it will be 3 points picked up by the Starlets. That brings our total up to 87. Charlie Hurst wasting no time securing that lead advantage for the Eves of Destruction in what might be our last jam of the game. Pyar scared getting through for that initial pass, about a half track behind Charlie Hurst. So Charlie Hurst having a few seconds to work with here, dancing up that outside line, calling it off, but it looks like Pyar scared might have gotten through for a couple of points. Looks like it will be the full 4 points picked up by Charlie Hurst. And a team timeout called means that we will have one more jam here. Coming up after this, we're going to see the Jane Deers taking on Team Northern BC. Calgary All-Stars will be taking on Fight Club to round out the action here.